Welcome to Report Vikings. If you're a fan of the Minnesota Vikings and always looking for the latest on the team, you've come to the right place. Today we have two hot news stories that are shaking up the Vikings offseason. A potential trade to bring quarterback Matthew Stafford back to the NFC North and the future of Byron Murphy, who could be on the verge of a massive contract after an impressive season. Stay tuned for more details and how these moves could shape the future of our team. Don't forget to subscribe to Report Vikings so you don't miss any updates on your favorite team. Byron Murphy's future. Are the Vikings ready to re-sign their star cornerback? After a breakout 2024 season that included his first Pro Bowl appearance and a career-high 6 interceptions, Byron Murphy has become one of the most sought-after prospects in this year's free agent class. Signed to a 2-year deal last offseason, Murphy proved his worth in Minnesota, but now the question is, will the Vikings make the effort to keep him in Minneapolis? Murphy's rise and new contract potential. When Murphy first joined the Vikings after a solid but uneventful career with the Arizona Cardinals, he wasn't seen as a cornerback candidate. But under defensive coordinator Brian Flores, Murphy has made a huge leap forward. In 2 seasons, he's established himself as a cornerstone of Minnesota's defense, and now his next contract reflects that evolution. After signing a $17.5 million contract with the Vikings in 2023, Murphy now finds himself in a position where that amount won't be enough to keep him around for much longer. His performance in 2024, coupled with his consistency and leadership in the secondary, puts his market value much higher, with forecasts pointing to a 3-year deal worth approximately $17.33 million per season, with $34.5 million in guarantees. What to expect from Murphy's next contract? According to Pro Football Focus analysis, Murphy excelled in Brian Flores' aggressive defense, and his 6 interceptions in 2024 were one of the highlights of the season. That made him one of the hottest names in free agency. Marcus Mosher of the 33rd team also predicted a similar contract, estimating that Murphy could be guaranteed around $50 million over 3 years, with an annual value of around $16.66 million. With those numbers, Murphy would rank among the 15 highest-paid cornerbacks in the NFL. However, he's not alone in the competition, as other big names like DJ Reed, Charvarius Ward, and Asante Samuel Jr. are also free agents and could potentially elevate the competition. Murphy's commitment to the Vikings. In an interview last year, Murphy made it clear that he wants to stay in Minnesota. "I don't think I'm going anywhere. That's my mindset. I want to stay. I love this place," he said. With a strong bond with his teammates and the coaching staff, he's expressed his desire to finish his career with the Vikings. This creates an interesting expectation for fans who love to see players committed to the franchise. The Vikings situation and the need to bolster the secondary. While Murphy's future hangs in the balance, the Vikings face a significant challenge at the cornerback position. With few proven names, such as the promising Mekhi Blackmon, who suffered a serious ACL injury in 2023, and Dwight McGlothern, who went undrafted, Minnesota urgently needs to bolster its secondary defense. Vikings general manager Adolfo Mensa knows that keeping Murphy could be key to stabilizing the defense, but there is also a need to look for alternatives in the draft or through further acquisitions. Murphy, at 27 years old, may have put himself out of the Vikings' price range, but there is still a chance that the team will prioritize his re-signing, especially in an offseason that could define the future of the franchise. What does the latest update say? Recently, ESPN's Jeremy Fowler brought a possible perspective on Murphy's future in Minnesota. According to him, the feeling within the team is that Murphy could move on to another franchise, but that re-signing Bynum could be a priority, which means that, although Murphy is in high demand, re-signing him is not out of the question. With the legal tampering window opening on March 10th, time is running out for a decision. The Vikings are expected to do everything they can to keep Murphy in Minneapolis, but negotiations could be intense given the value the cornerback could fetch on the market. Vikings consider trade for Matthew Stafford, the QB who could lead Minnesota to the Super Bowl. With the 2025 season approaching, the Minnesota Vikings find themselves in a strategic position to improve their team, especially when it comes to the quarterback position. Even with 4 picks in the upcoming draft, rumors indicate that the Vikings are closely monitoring the situation of Matthew Stafford, the experienced QB of the Los Angeles Rams. In a recent analysis, Tyler Sullivan of CBS Sports suggested that a trade could bring Stafford to Minnesota, a move that would be fueled by the quarterback's solid connection with head coach Kevin O'Connell. The two worked together on the Rams, where O'Connell was the offensive coordinator during their Super Bowl 56 title. Sullivan believes that this bond could be the key to making the deal happen. The proposed trade. Sullivan's proposal involves the Vikings trading the 24th overall pick in the 2025 draft to the Rams in exchange for Stafford. Not only would this deal be strategic for Minnesota, but it would also bring a new perspective to the team as it looks to solidify its offensive future. Stafford, at 37, had an impressive regular season in 2024, throwing for 3,762 yards, 20 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. In the playoffs, he shined even more, racking up 533 yards and 4 TDs in 2 games. What's at stake for the Vikings? For the Vikings, the decision to stick with Sam Darnold or rely on the emerging talent of J.J. McCarthy could be the deciding factor. Sullivan notes that the situation of Darnold, who has had an up-and-down season, and the potential of McCarthy, who missed his rookie season due to injury, are key pieces to the puzzle. If the Vikings believe Darnold can develop and are willing to give McCarthy more time to develop, Stafford would be a high-level option for the next 2 seasons, Sullivan wrote. But if McCarthy is completely trusted or Darnold is retained via a franchise tag or extension, the trade for Stafford loses steam. In addition, the performance of Daniel Jones, another available quarterback, could also influence Minnesota's decisions. Darnold and Jones are free agents, while McCarthy is entering his second year as a rookie. A return to the NFC North for Stafford? If the trade happens, Stafford would return to the NFC North, where he was drafted by the Detroit Lions with the number 1 overall pick in the 2009 draft. After 12 seasons in Detroit, he was traded to the Rams, where he won a Super Bowl. The QB already has a good record against the Vikings, winning the last 2 meetings, but his career against Minnesota is 10-13. Many are betting that a trade to the Vikings could be just what Stafford needs to give his career one last big boost, while also giving Minnesota a real chance to compete for a title. Vikings, Giants, and Steelers, Stafford's favorite destinations. In addition to the Vikings, other teams are also eyeing Stafford, with the New York Giants and Pittsburgh Steelers being mentioned as interesting destinations. For CBS Sports' Jordan Dajani, the Vikings situation is particularly fascinating. What they decide to do with the quarterback this offseason will have a big impact. If Darnold leaves and the Vikings don't go all in on McCarthy right away, Stafford could be a veteran option to provide that much-needed upgrade. Dajani also highlights the possibility of seeing Stafford reunite with O'Connell, throwing passes to stars like Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and T.J. Hawkinson. The idea of a Stafford in the Vikings offense is certainly intriguing. The uncertainty surrounding Stafford. There's still a lot of uncertainty surrounding Stafford's situation, especially with Rams GM Les Snead making it clear that another team will have to make the first move. Stafford is still under contract with the Rams for 2 more seasons, which only adds to the complexities of this deal. However, if the Vikings decide to make a move, the trade could be a masterstroke, bringing in the experience and talent needed to lead the team back to the top.